All right, what do you hear?
I hear you talking about things that you say that you have, like, you're done with.
No, the people I'm done with.
Then why are you talking about the people that you're done with? I don't understand.
You know what?
Okay.
I'm tired of being pushed over.
Thank you to everybody who has subscribed recently. Don't think that we don't notice. We love the views, we love the comments, we love all of the new subscribers, and we love seeing that this show is growing. If you like this show, the best thing you can do to support it is hit that subscribe button. And if you want to take it one step further, please share any and all episodes. Thank you. Let's get on to the show. Welcome to Bair, the Kintsugi Chronicles, here on the I Am Not Okay channel, where we gather our broken pieces in search of gold. My name is John Bair.
And I'm Jeremy Palmer.
And today we're welcoming back a very, very, very special guest, my mambo, MJ Bair. How we doing, Mom?
We're doing good. How are you doing?
Welcome back.
How are you doing,
Welcome.
Jeremy?
Very well, thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah.
It's weird to be here. It's very nice.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what we're gonna dig right in there. I mean, there's been a little hiatus, 6-ish months or so.
Has it been that long?
Maybe a little less, maybe like 4 or 5. But I thought it was like July or August.
It's been a while.
Yeah. What's been going on?
In my world, I've been sick. I shouldn't say I've been sick. I've had a few cardiac blips on the radar and wound up having an ablation. And on the heels of that, I had my pacemaker battery replaced. So I had 2 procedures in a very short period of time.
Yeah.
So I'm feeling a lot better, though.
Excellent.
I mean,
That's amazing.
physically.
Yeah.
So
Awesome. I know that's not the only reason that you haven't been here. And yeah, I'll go ahead and kick it off. Whatever it was, July or August, I think we hit a point in our show here where I wasn't sure the direction of where we were going. I'm not sure you were either. And it caused friction.
yes.
And that's the best way to say it. And we got upset at each other. If anybody goes back and watches some of the earlier episodes, which I really hope you do, you're gonna see me react less than savory. I didn't really understand where my mom was coming from, and a lot of how I talked to her was pretty charged. And then after we got into that argument, I know personally I had to take a big step back and be like, what is going on here? Like, we cannot keep just butting heads.
Right.
Like, it's like, well, we're Scorpio, so like 2 scorpions waiting, circling. Oh, let her guard down, sting. Oh, let her guard down, sting. Let his guard down, sting him. And we weren't getting anywhere. What's your take on what happened?
Essentially the same thing you just said. We got to a point where we're digging into these things that we've never discussed with anyone, really.
Yeah.
And we certainly haven't discussed them in our family.
Right.
And I think I've told you this in the past. When change occurs in your life, whether it's the change you want or the change that's being thrust upon you, changes always bring turbulence.
Yeah.
So even though we're doing this, and we all said we agreed we want to do this, we want to do it as a family,
Yes.
because we saw ourselves really falling off a cliff. We wanted this, but the turmoil and dredging up what happened, how it happened, how it was a whole new world for us. It was Mars,
Agreed.
right?
Yeah.
And you're right. We got to the point where, to bear it all, we locked horns.
Yeah.
And we both took a step back.
Me and you blocked horns.
Yes, you and I blocked horns. It was
And
bad.
Holly was actually able to see that.
Yeah,
So it was actually, everybody was there. Yeah.
yeah. And we needed to do that.
Yeah.
Because, again, we're bringing all of these things up that have been living in us individually, and we never discussed it. We never
Agreed.
resolved it. And one of the things I've realized from being away is the fact that, what the hell was I going to say?
I'm working on my mind reading.
Yeah, hold on. I just completely...
Well, you got to see the fallout from all that. So what did you take from all that? Because you were literally there that day and then the day after.
Sure.
And you kind of got to talk to me sort of off camera,
Sure.
one-to-one. What was your take?
I mean,
because you've watched all those episodes too.
I'll say the first thing first. As soon as I heard you, MJ, saying that it got very turbulent, the first thing I'll say to that is the old saying of smooth seas don't make good sailors, right? Calm seas don't make a good sailor. What I know is that, through that and from that, John really took a step back on his own inside the gym, in the podcast, in his personal life, in every place that he has let me in to be able to see it. And I believe I'm probably a little closer than most, not everyone, but pretty darn close.
The closest.
The effects of that have spread out. And so what I mean by that is, with that step back and really making the effort to understand why am I feeling like this? Why am I reacting like this? And I had several off-camera conversations with John and said to him pretty pointedly, like, why are you so reactive? Like, what's going on there? Your mom's just talking and you're jumping all over her. Like, what's going on? And you're privy to another conversation that him and I had, like, really, really off of camera, like outside as well. And I'm not even going to say that on the air because it doesn't need to be said. But that's how I feel. Like, I'm overly protective. I had a really close relationship with my mother, and she passed way, way early in my life. But I'm really overly protective of moms.
Aw.
And that's just the way I am.
Or you won't say it, but I will.
Okay. Not my place to.
That's right. That's right. It's not. It's my place. And Jeremy heard me say a curse word at my mom. And he asked me, he's like, yo, man, maybe don't curse at your mom. Okay? And coming from that protective place, and he really said it very calmly. He's like, you're better than that, and you can do better than that. And I took it to heart. And I've worked to do that. That being said, if and when there's a time to say certain words, I'll say them, but they don't need to be with charge and venom and to hurt. And that's what I was doing. And I believe that's what he was saying to me. It was like, stop saying that word to hurt your mom. You don't need to do that.
Absolutely.
So I've been working on that for sure.
I've noticed the change.
That being said, go fuck yourself.
There we go. Now we're back to a normal zero place.
All right.
And we can move from there. But yes, that's, essentially, I witnessed, even in a short period of time, John moved from the place of very reactive into a much more steady, almost studied version of himself, especially on camera. But it's not just on camera. Like, this is who we are. This is who you are. I know that for sure. Like, this is just who we are all the time. Like, we're not putting on airs here. We're not doing something for the camera. Like, we're having a conversation.
No, this shit is real.
Yeah, this is, and at this point, if you're watching this, you have already watched several other episodes that are really real. We have sat down with some folks and really, they spill their guts to us. And I think that's a great segue for what you're doing here now.
What I'm doing here now.
Yeah.
I had
Why
my
you're
own.
back. Yeah.
my own existential crisis.
Yes.
Yeah. So
As
after
a
that, what
result.
happened? Yeah.
After that, I had to decide what I was doing and why I was doing it.
Okay.
And for me, John, it boils down to this, all of this changed my life to such a degree that if I don't talk about it now, I'm going to explode. I'm going to lose my shit
Sure.
all over the place. And I've realized it's because I've said this before, I've never discussed these things in the past.
Yeah.
How I experienced my life isn't right and it isn't wrong.
It just is.
Right, exactly. So when I'm discussing a situation and I can feel you tense up when I'm
Yes,
talking about things
I bristle.
that will upset you.
Great.
And I understand that.
I'm glad you can feel that.
I always do, John.
Well, speak to that then, maybe.
I always did. Speak to why
no, you didn't.
why you're prickly.
Yeah. You didn't always speak to it. And I can tell you, just you saying, oh, you're prickly, that doesn't make me feel good. So that's not speaking to it. That's poking your finger in something that I didn't even know I was doing and then not helping me fix it. So that's how I see that. So if you're going to call me prickly, you're going to help me fix it. You don't get to say names and call me things without assisting. And that's where I believe that comes
I wasn't calling
from.
you anything. I was using it as a descriptor.
And did you hear what I just said?
Yes, John.
What did I just say?
That I have to help you with it or I'm not, there's no point in discussing it.
Correct. So there we are.
Have you ever heard the term spot the problem, own the solution?
No.
Okay.
Cool.
Well, now you have.
Onward. So
And
there we are.
Here's a piece too, right? And we can let this happen right on the camera. Like, if you feel the bristle, then you come this way.
There's like the negative,
Yeah,
the ground.
here's the ground right
Yeah.
here. If
I'm
you
the positive. I'm going to charge it
If
up.
you feel the bristle, direct it this way and talk to me while you're still talking.
Because he feels the same things, and he'll be like, yo, I feel you bristling. What's up?
Oh, yeah.
So that's honestly everyday conversation is be like, yo, man, that thing and vice versa. Be like, yo, we had a client, we got a thing that had to get talked about, and I feel what's going on in you. Let's get it out in the open and deal with it.
Do you know why you get tense or is it different for every situation?
Well, so with that, with you calling me prickly, I get tense because to me, it seems like, one, you're making fun of me. Two, you're calling me out and like making me feel not good about something that I didn't have control of. And then you're not helping me. So yeah, like that makes me want to fight you and punch you back. I don't let anybody do that to me. And you should know why.
John, I'm not doing that to you. That's the whole point.
Cool. Did you hear what I just said? I just explained why I do what I do. And you kind of just went over the top of it and didn't even acknowledge what I said.
I did acknowledge it.
What am I missing? Because now I'm bristling.
So he's explaining it in that way, and I hear what he's saying, but I'm also hearing what you're saying too. And this is the place where I find myself a lot in the conversations, even when the camera's not on between us, right? Like that, I have grown into this place of like a very solid grounding rod. And I'm okay with that because I am that for other people too. Like that's what I have done in my time. So what I'm hearing is him explaining to you the reasons why it is, and I hear what you're saying too. Like what you're saying is you're not making fun of him from your place. Like you're saying a thing that you're observing. He's built, you guys together have built this relationship that revolves around and involves a lot of what you were just saying, like circling, stinging, circling, stinging, circling, stinging. And you were raised in that environment. You are that environment. Like, not of any, through any doing of your own, from all of the things that we're going to talk about in a little while, like, that has built into how you operate.
Yes.
Yes. And I've seen it, I've heard it. Like, I've watched all the things. I've been here through some of the things. We've had some pretty serious conversations in here as well. And I have listened to your story on numerous occasions and just really and truly wanted to reach through the phone or whatever I was watching it and give you a hug, because, you know, some of that stuff is so repugnant and terrible that it's almost unthinkable, some of it, to me. And I understand that informs so much of how you do your thing and how you live your life. And up until just a little while ago, it was also informing everything about how you interacted in your relationship with your son. And he then became also that, like, but then took it and made it strong. Think about it like that. You guys are actually very similarly the same personality type.
Sure.
He's just a lot more confident and stronger in being that
I believe that.
that rougher personality.
I believe that.
But I've seen your version of it too, and it's the same thing, like, because now I know it and I've seen it enough. Like, it's the same thing. It's just slightly informed from a different place. You know, it began in your realm and it carried over into his realm, and then it just kind of worked its way through life with a whole bunch of really terrible things that have happened during that time. And, you know, I want to back up just a minute and say, like, I'm so proud of both of you just for sitting here and doing what we're doing right now. Because this, in case anybody's watching this and doesn't see it, doesn't know, like, this is the stuff. This is the thing. This is the stuff that moves everyone forward. Like, you have to get the stuff out. You know, maybe I'm not the most qualified person to be sitting and listening to it and giving any advice.
Bullshit.
But thank you.
Yeah, I have to agree too. You don't need a professional. You need
Thank you.
somebody who's in it to win it.
I'm happy to.
Yeah.
I love being able to be here for you guys, because it makes me feel like I'm contributing something positive to your situation. Whenever I can sit here with you guys and help you work out some stuff and move through to the other side of things. All of that being said, I'll return to the question from the beginning of what we were just talking about, and that was, do I hear what's happening here? And yes, I do hear what's happening here. And I think everyone can benefit from listening a little bit more. Everyone. Not you, not me. Everyone can benefit from listening a little bit more, and really listening with the intention of hearing, not responding. That's what I have. That's what I pick up there.
And to do my best to take the emotion out of it and to not sting you. Mom, what just happened there to me, in my words, was I told you how I felt, and you basically said, no, I'm not doing it because you felt that way. So that is very dismissive to me. And when you dismiss me, I get defensive, and then I come back with a fight. And it tells me that you're not hearing me, you're waiting to respond.
Hence my comment.
Do you understand what I just said?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you not want me to respond?
I didn't say that.
I know, I'm asking you a question that had a question mark.
I always want you to say the truth. Right? Like,
Okay.
I work to listen to the words that you're saying and really work to understand, detaching myself emotionally from being your son, which is very difficult to do. And I believe part of what fed those earlier conversations that we had is that I wasn't as aware of, like, I knew I could be a dick or be charged up or whatever. I'm starting to also learn, you know how much trauma was stacked on me? And I know it was stacked on me because you had 21 years of it before I came into this world. And guess what? It got passed right on to me. Everything you went through is in me. So I feel it too, plus what happened to me. So that shit is heavy. And I'm done being in a position of letting people telling me what happened. I'm telling them what happened, whether or not they fucking like it. And if they don't want to listen because I get too charged up, then fuck off. I'll go work with people that can, because I need a place to express myself too, and I didn't have that for a while inside our family unit. That's
Right.
all.
I agree.
Okay. That's where I'm at. And I'm not mad at you.
And so I want to ask a question based off of that. Like, have you, before you had this outlet, this place to sit and talk a little bit, have you ever had any outlet for
No.
this stuff at all in your life?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
Having an outlet to discuss anything
Yeah.
growing up just simply didn't exist.
Right.
You're a little bit younger than me.
Sure.
In my world, when I grew up, I said this before, children were
Seen and not heard.
responsible. Not only that, they were responsible for everything that went wrong in their life.
Sure.
And I just saw a meme not too long ago. It said 1967 across the top. And it was parents and a kid in a classroom standing in front of a teacher's desk. And the teacher's sitting behind the desk. The parents are like leaning over the kid, screaming at the kid, "What the hell did you do in school?" Right? The report came from the school that your kid did something. The parents go down to the school. And what did they do in 1967?
Smack the kid.
Scream and yell at the kid, then take the kid home and beat the hell out of the kid.
Yeah.
And then the next cartoon was 2025. Nobody's going to like this part, but it was the same teacher, the same parents, and the same kid. But now the parents are leaning over the desk, screeching at the teacher.
Right.
Because the teachers are saying, your kid's this, your kid's that.
Right.
So now it's all the teacher's fault. So we've gone from one end of the spectrum to the other. I
Nobody
was
wants
all
to be in the
deference.
middle.
Right. I was all deference. I was all responsible for everything that happened, regardless of your age.
Sure.
And of course, we didn't have the ability to know anything really beyond our little teeny tiny world. And again, in my
Right.
case, the first time I went out to eat in a restaurant, very first time in my life, I was 7 years old. I was sequestered until that point. My first real outside experience would have been kindergarten. Because the world wasn't set up for kids. You didn't take kids anywhere. You left them at home. They were like peanuts, just feed them and eventually they'll go to school. But your parents weren't
You
there
feed
to...
your peanuts?
Well, they did once in a while. Your parents weren't there, though, to provide
Right.
the emotional support a human being, let alone a child, requires, right?
Huh?
So
I understand.
they put the roof over your head, they put clothes on your back, they fed you, and they sent you to school. What the hell more do you want out of life?
Right.
That's
Leave
what,
me alone for a little while.
Right.
I've given you these things.
And if you don't trod that family line, if you don't stay on that straight and narrow that's defined by the family,
Sure.
there's something wrong with you. If you deviate from the protocol that's laid down in the family, the implicit injunctions
Sure.
that families have, if you don't follow that verbatim, there's something wrong with you. And there was always something wrong with me.
Me too. I've been that guy my whole life.
Yeah, me too.
There's always been something wrong with me.
And so you asked me if I ever had an outlet. The answer is no.
Yeah.
And as a result, you think John's prickly? I got the wall of all walls right now.
Right.
I'm aware of that.
What do you mean you got the wall of all walls?
I built up a wall that's so tough, it's like a curtain wall in a castle.
Oh, so I inherited prickly.
I didn't say that.
Oh, all right. This is what I heard. See how we hear things differently?
Yes, that's part of this process.
Oh, isn't that interesting?
That's what I've been trying to do all along.
You're very good at telling me the thing. You're not very good at hearing it. So just...
Well, how about just letting me talk?
That's why we're here, right?
Let's go.
Been waiting.
Keep
what
going.
you got to say?
First things first. I don't think you understand where I'm actually coming from
You're
with this.
right. There's no way I can.
Right. So I'm going to tell you.
Let's
In
have
life, in life, we make decisions for ourselves, our own person. We make these decisions based upon who we are, our experiences, and what we believe at the time is best for us. Up until the point where I parted ways with all of these people. I didn't ostracize myself from my family. They didn't want me in the family.
Okay.
And because of that, I was always in limbo. My family didn't want me, but I knew we were going to discuss everything because we're a family. What the hell else are you going to do? Families have to stick together, right? That's how I was raised. So these people are telling me, your family, your family, your family, your family. But when push came to shove, they shoved the family out the door and say, now we're not talking to you. Right?
Right? I don't know. This is your story. I'm listening. This is me listening, like not saying things. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
So then
I'm
what?
not asking you to put words in my
Right,
mouth. I'm
so
just,
then what?
I forget
Is
where
it
that
right? I don't know.
Right.
Like you say it right, as if like I was fucking there. I wasn't, so I don't know.
Right, but so then what?
Wait, I lost my train of
It's
thought
okay.
again.
So
Jesus
they push.
Christ.
You're pushed out of the family, and then they're,
And you
hey,
have
family,
no
family,
outlet.
family.
Right.
But when push comes to shove, no family. So then what?
So then, because I'm on the outside looking in, not through my own doing, my family didn't want me around. Okay? So I'm in limbo here. I'm thinking all along, well, of course we're going to talk. We're going to resolve these issues, and then we're going to move forward as a family because I didn't know that another alternative existed. Meanwhile, I've subsequently learned with my family and other people involved in this that they weren't on the same page as me. I was the only asshole thinking we're going to resolve this. Nothing could have persuaded me differently until Tony died.
Why did you think that it was all going to just work out?
Because we were family, and I was told, John, it was like
You were
two
raised under that
different-
premise.
It was like two different families. Inside the house, I'm the biggest asshole you ever saw. You open that front door, everybody slaps on a smile and acts as if we have the perfect family.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That I understand.
Inside the house, outside the house.
Oh, right. There were two different families. So you almost have a split personality growing up.
When did you-
Inside the house, you're the biggest asshole. Outside,
When did you first realize that was happening? Like how old would you say you were when you finally realized that when you went outside of the family or outside of the house that you were portrayed or treated differently than when you were home?
Good question.
when I knew it consciously or when I
Yes,
felt
when
it?
it consciously was like, oh, that's a thing. Like you can sit here and say it now. We had two families, but at what point in your life did you realize that as it was happening, like while it was happening, like were you a young person when you realized, or did you not come to that until later down the line as an adult?
As an adult. Anyway,
So-
there were two
right,
different families.
Right.
I didn't realize this until I was an adult.
Okay.
Somewhere.
But you felt it. As a kid, you felt something like you would see like,
Discrepancies?
wait, my father doesn't talk about me like that when I'm at home.
Yes.
When was that in your life? Like, when did you realize that? Be like, oh, my father never says things like that to me when it's just us at the house.
The night we told my father we were getting married.
How old were you?
20?
19.
Wow. Okay.
I told you this story before.
Say it again for everybody.
Take your time.
I told my father I was getting married. Brad was there. My father launched into, I don't know why you'd want to marry her. Essentially, just degrading me in front of Brad.
Finish the sentence. You know what he said? Because I'll say it if you don't want to. He said, why do you want to marry her? She's a cunt.
No, that's what Brad said to me.
That's what he said to you?
That was it. When we were getting a divorce, we went and sat with Poppy at his house. My father wanted to talk to both of us about getting a divorce, and Brad piped up at one point, Jim, your daughter's a cunt. And my father didn't miss a beat. He didn't. But that was when we were getting a divorce.
Okay, all right.
When we were getting
Okay.
married, he said, she's lazy, she's this, she's that. I don't know why you want to marry her. And he also said, I remember this, I expected her to bring home somebody who robbed trains, not somebody who modeled them.
Ooh, you didn't tell me
Ouch.
that one. That's fucked up.
That was the first time I remember just blatantly, you know, a moment when it's supposed to be happy.
Right.
But my father was known for that. If something good was happening, he
You had
found
to
a way
take
to
the air out of it?
right, shoot it right down. Anyway, all of these experiences led up to when Tony died. And it was at that point, John, where I made the decision to part ways with my family.
Okay.
I made the choice.
Yeah.
And when I made it, I knew I was making it permanent.
Okay.
Okay? So when I walked away, I decided no matter what happens from here on out, I'm not doing anything to antagonize these people. I'm just going to live my life with my kids. The only thing that mattered to me then was you, Holly, and me.
Okay.
And we did that for quite a few years.
That's all we did.
Exactly. That is all we did.
What else could you do?
You do, right.
That was,
I don't know.
Yeah, what else could
Yeah.
have been done?
I don't know.
There was nothing else to do but
Survive.
just survive.
Exactly.
And I made decisions for myself. One of the decisions was, this is permanent. And I wrote a letter. I was intentionally provocative in that letter, meaning I wanted to say something that was going to punch them in the throat because I didn't want any opportunity for me to open that door again and say, all right, I'm sorry, I want to come back. I wanted to make it permanent. And in making that decision permanent, John, I have no qualms in discussing these things now.
Okay.
I'm not responsible for the fact that all of these people are part of our story. The reason they're part of the story is they brought themselves into my life.
Okay.
They're the aggressive parties throughout all of this. And I want you to understand that.
Understand.
I didn't provoke any of this abuse.
Okay.
My family, my former husband, his family were all colluding. And they were coming at me individually. They were coming at me as a mob. And this lasted for decades. I'm one single person. And these people are all coming at me. I had no outlet other than counseling on occasion.
Yeah.
And back then, counseling, nobody touched on these types of situations.
No.
I don't even know that it was if it was even a discipline in mental health at that point.
Yes, it was.
In the 80s?
Yes. I mean, psychiatry's been around.
No, it's
Well,
not psychiatry, the
and psychology.
dysfunctional family thing.
What do you like? What do you mean?
Well, back then, if you went to therapy, they only wanted to talk to you about you. How do you feel? Why are you feeling this way? But they don't want to go into how you became this person. Like, your past.
So
your family
psychology has
dynamic?
evolved, like where they can go with it.
Tremendously.
Okay, well then
Okay.
we can say that.
Sure.
Sorry.
You want one of these cough drops? Cola, take one of those.
Thank you. I'm sorry, you guys.
It's all right.
It's bringing shit up.
Heavy stuff that's coming up. You've been
You know, they say that
been
when your
keeping it
throat
down.
gets, you know, like we talk about things that are upsetting?
Yeah.
Your throat feels like it's closing.
You know, you understand that if you think about, like, are you familiar with the chakras, the energy centers of the body?
Vaguely, yes.
Okay. So you have 7 of them that exist in your body. And your throat
Oh, okay.
is the home to your voice, your willpower, the things that you say, the things that you say you'll do. Like, that's the home of all of that stuff. So the things that you're saying right now are very, very indicative of things that would close that up for you, because you've been holding them down for so long, and it's hard to let that valve open. And when that valve opens, then we can let some of that stuff out. I believe that's our next episode is going to be all about opening that valve.
And here's a great opportunity for a unsponsored break for Ricola.
Ricola.
Do not choke on your truth.
Ooh.
Apparently that's what I'm doing, huh?
It is.
Pardon. All right.
All
Let's go.
right, so
Back
I
into
made
it.
decisions for myself. I walked away permanently. That was my decision, okay?
Okay.
I made the decision that I'm not opening my doors for these people ever again.
Okay.
So I'm discussing what happened in my life. I'm not expecting anyone to believe what I'm saying, not even you, John. What I'm talking about here are my experiences and how it affected me and my family going forward,
Sure.
okay?
Yep.
You don't have to agree with what I'm saying.
I mean, I'll tell you if I don't, but like I'm not like waiting on the edge to not agree.
Okay. But I know what happened to me, and I know
Want to hear it.
what was done
Okay.
as a result of that.
I want to interject in there for 1 second. How do I want to word this? Okay. So, let's just say that here's the paper that says, like, this is what happened to me. Do you ever review that and ask questions of yourself of that and be like, hey, was that really the thing that happened? And I'm not taking this from the place, and I want you understand where I'm coming from. I'm not
Absolutely.
taking this from the place of, like, you don't remember it right, you're not this. What I'm saying is, and I've had this experience in my life recently, even with my family, and I'm happy to get into it a little bit more, but a lot of the things that I believed about my family early on in my life were essentially turned on their ear not very long ago by a member of my family who I had previously been led to believe was kind of the bad person of the group of my family. Like, I never had a relationship with this person and was always kind of led to believe from most people that they were the enemy, for lack of a better term. And what it caused me to do was really take a huge step backwards and rewind through a bunch of things that happened in my life and in my family's time frame and look at them through a slightly different lens. So my question is, has that place happened for you? Have you been in a spot at any period of time where you're like, okay, here's my story. Let me just make sure that this really is my story. Like, let me look back at it and make sure that I believe that it sits and resonates well with me now as I am sharing it with the world.
The answer to that question is yes.
Okay.
I've been questioning myself all my life.
I believe that.
as a target of
Yeah, I believe
the
that.
abuse, right? The first thing you do is question your motive. You're going to
100%.
turn whatever's happening.
Yep.
You're going to look at
What
the
did
mirror
I
and
do?
say, "What the hell did I do
Yeah,
wrong?"
what did I do wrong? I got it.
In conjunction with that, Jeremy, I have questioned myself all along.
Okay.
There are times where I convinced myself that things were true about my family, for example, that never actually existed in the first place.
Name one.
That my family was based on love.
Okay. Fair.
That's what I was raised with, because you're told your family's love, the police are good, go to church, you
Right.
know, those kinds of
All
things.
the things, right.
Right. And then you grow up and you find out priests are molesting children.
Not all, but yes.
Some.
Yep.
What you're finding out is
Yes.
the world is completely different than what you thought. Same thing here with families.
Sure.
I thought one way, and as time goes on and as I rethink things, as I go back and reread, I have
Oh, I
tons
know.
of words,
I know you
and I
do.
reread the words that I've written
Awesome.
as something that happened in the moment, and I go, that's exactly how I remember it. I haven't
Okay.
read this thing in 20 years,
Right.
but that's exactly how I'm remembering it.
Excellent. Okay.
Since we started the podcast,
Yep.
it's gone even deeper than that. There has been some activity, family members making contact, either directly or indirectly.
Sure.
I've heard about that too.
Right. And those situations have also caused me to rethink my position. And every time something has happened as a result of this podcast, I have to rethink, am I the one that's being
Okay.
insane here?
Excellent.
And I'll tell you one real quick thing. I have a folder of letters that John saved from around the time Tony died.
Right.
Police reports, letters from my father,
Sure.
letters I
Stuff.
sent.
Yeah. Just
Right.
general memorabilia and
I didn't know
things
he
to
had
remember.
that folder until
He's a secretly sentimental guy. He doesn't talk
I don't know
about it. He
why
doesn't
kept
talk about it much.
Do you know why you kept that stuff?
It definitely wasn't sentimentality. It was fucking evidence.
Okay.
And I knew I'd circle back to it and be like, okay,
Whereas I
motherfuckers.
thought I threw it away.
Right.
Because I was at that point I was done. I didn't want to think about it. I didn't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
I didn't want anything to do with any of it. I wanted to pull that curtain down
Yeah.
and never look back.
I understand why.
And I found that does nothing.
No.
The problems that were occurring are still occurring. But anyway, John, because of the contact with these people, I've also rethought my position.
Excellent.
All right. Like the recent reaching out from other members of our family?
Yes, actually.
Okay, so what did that make you rethink? Like what conclusion have you come to? Or what has it made you change?
Nothing, because everything I've learned up until this point convinces me that what needs to change hasn't even been thought of. There's been no self-reflection.
From who?
All of them. All the ones that have contacted us.
Can you honestly say that you did all the self-reflection then, if you're going to point fingers?
No, I reflected on my original position. Did they come to the table with anything new, or is what they're saying true?
I don't know, because they won't sit down and talk about it. So,
Well, when somebody says, I vanished for 20 years,
sure.
that's a ludicrous thing to say. Why would you lie about something like that when it's so easily disproved?
Okay, hold on one sec.
Go ahead.
Hold on 1 second. I'm going to slide in there.
Ground it.
You did just say, we could rewind the tape just a couple of minutes ago. You made a decision that you were splitting from everyone, and you sent a letter that had charged words in it.
Yes.
That ensured that was the case.
Yes.
So, do you feel, upon hearing someone else say that to you, that there may have been, that those folks may have had some reason to think that way about you? Like, I'm not saying that anybody is right, wrong, or indifferent in this place, because just so we're clear, like you've mentioned right and wrong a few times, right and wrong is a human construct. right? There are things that happen. Humans see things as right, wrong, like what you see as right, someone else sees as wrong, all of that stuff that has been a thing. Yes, there are universal truths to that stuff, but most things that people say or consider right or wrong are really just constructs of the way we were raised and our belief system. Do you feel that that letter and that action could have fueled and built that wall from the other side? You said you've built a wall and you've separated yourself from this group of people. Mm-hmm. At what point would they have ever seen anything other than the outside of a wall?
I can't answer that for them.
Okay. So then it's reasonable to at least take a jump and say that perhaps because of some of that stuff, there could be like some other folks' truth could really be like, I don't know what happened to MJ. She disappeared off the face of the earth.
Sure, of course that could be.
Okay, that's all.
Absolutely.
That's all I want to...
Look, let me say this right now.
Say it.
I will get things wrong.
Right now.
I'll get things wrong. I have feet of clay. Human being, right?
Sure.
I will get some of this wrong.
I hope.
And I'm perfectly fine with getting this wrong because all of these people, living and deceased, have had the opportunity for decades to discuss these issues, to try to resolve these issues. Every opportunity, every request that was made over the course of all these years was rejected by these people. They're not willing to say, okay, here's what I have. This is why I feel the way I feel about you. I heard this about you, Mary Jo. Is that true? Nobody's ever had the integrity to come to me and say these things. So I made the executive decision, Jeremy, that from that point forward, your input, their input, his input is no longer necessary. I don't want to hear it. I don't care what you have to say. You had the opportunity. You chose not to avail yourself of it. That window of opportunity for me is closed.
Excellent.
At the same time, I know I'll get things wrong. But can I ask you a question?
I'm listening.
Do you believe I'm a detail-oriented person?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
When you need something that requires close inspection, to look for an answer.
Actually, I think you're detail oriented with the things that matter to you, because the things that matter to me, i.e. calling me prickly, I don't think you're detail oriented. I think the details slip right over your head. So
how about giving me a chance to learn?
Hey, two-way street, right? That's why we're here talking.
That's what we're doing.
This is literally a kind of conversation that I think most people need to learn how to have.
Yes.
I mean, he and I.
I'm happy to have it with you and your mom if you need it.
Hey, he and I know a mother and son that butt heads just like me and you. And that's what he was alluding to earlier. He's been here. This is him getting an opportunity to take it home for himself. So this is what we do for people. Because guess what? Everybody who comes in here, guess what stories I hear? The stuff out there that nobody else wants to listen to. Right. So they bring it in here because it's still living inside of them. And I sit and I listen and I allow them to space to do it. And I don't question them. I don't tell them they're wrong. I mirror back what I hear and I work to attempt to see where they're coming from. So that's what I do. And guess what? I can be I didn't realize how reactive I was until I saw myself on camera doing it to you.
Right, exactly.
Well, then it stands to reason that that's what you needed in reverse. So that's what I'm saying.
So
I recognize that too, John.
I have a comment. So I want to go back before you changed over and you were explaining the answer to
banging the table?
No, yes, but you were explaining the answer to my question. I want to make sure you heard the answer to your question because you said it, but you said it after I kind of pulled it out of you a little bit more.
Well, I was getting there.
I know, but I want to make sure because what I'm hearing and what I heard there was at first it was very general. There was a lot of generalization of the why, But when we poked it a little bit, you became very clear about what was happening, your reasons, other things like that. So I want you to be conscious of that as the thing, as we're moving forward through here. And, obviously we have a plan to move forward with some things here, and you have this book sitting off to the side that's ready to be cracked open. I want to be conscious of that as we move forward, because generalizations about things are not going to accomplish
anything
what we need to accomplish
Right,
here.
I agree.
Like
I agree.
Otherwise, we're just sitting here talking, and we're talking
spinning
shit.
our wheels, right?
Yeah, like we need to be specific about stuff, and I'm happy to be in the place of helping the specifics of the conversations.
Okay, let me take it a step further then.
Okay.
I made that
like
choice
it.
for myself.
The
But I
choice,
never-
the choice to leave, or
No,
that you
the
weren't going to
choice
have
that
them in
I
your
don't
life.
care what you have to say.
Okay.
Your input is no longer necessary.
Great.
That door's closed.
Okay.
I also know that I need to get as close to the truth as possible for me.
Sure.
Close to the truth about what happened,
Yeah.
how it happened, why it happened. I know going into this, I'm never going to have all the answers. I'm never going to know all the questions. I'm never going to know all of the anything. That's an absolute that I can't do anything about. But I can get closer to the truth. And I do that with information.
Okay.
The more information, the more data I have,
Yeah.
my columns and my rows, and I look at it, that's where I've seen the patterns forming.
Sure.
That's how it works.
Slipped my entire life, right?
Fucking
how it works.
spreadsheet people.
When, and I'll tell you another thing.
Hey, if you start keeping track of things, all of a sudden, you're
There's the
able
pattern,
to
right.
recognize patterns.
Exactly.
Interesting.
That
That
sounds like something that we say in here a lot.
Anybody else catch that one?
I've been doing that all my life.
Not just you.
Well, we were
Oh, I thought it was all about me.
I mean,
At the moment.
that's interesting. Let's talk about that.
Come on, John. You know me better than that. What was the other
See,
thing I
now
was
we're all
gonna say?
smiling a little bit.
There we go. Right.
All right.
So,
Every once in a while.
All right.
all right. So say the things. Come on.
All right, let's go.
The other thing I wanted to say along those same lines, I made that decision. Boom, I'm done.
Great.
I'm going to make mistakes.
Awesome.
I hope you understand that.
Me personally
Even-
or
yes,
everybody
you
else?
personally.
Oh, okay.
Even when I make mistakes,
Mm-hmm.
it's an educated guess.
You learned something.
Well, no, what I'm saying is there is evidence behind what I'm saying.
Sure.
I may not be able to take it all the way to the finish line
Sure.
in terms of evidence,
Sure.
but I can get closer. I can infer what happened based on my experiences with all of these people all my life.
Okay.
And I have no problem when I say something, somebody said this and they meant it this way. That's because I've taken the time to say, how many times in my life have I seen this particular person react to something similar, and how do they react? Are their reactions the same across time, or are they waver? Has there been any growth in the person from the beginning until now? That's how I measure this. And that's how I decide, John, whether if something significant hasn't happened, significant enough to make me take a step back and say, I got to rethink my position here. If that doesn't happen, I gave myself the right to say, carry on. Because from my perspective, nothing has changed.
Okay.
And you kind of push back on me when I say things like that because I am absolute. I just want you to understand why I am and why I've made those choices.
I mean, I can sit here and say I understand why you made the choices. At this point, if you actually made that choice, I don't understand why we're still talking about the same shit. Like,
Because I'm not done talking about it. That's the only reason.
okay, well then we're here to listen. So like, what the fuck needs to be said? Like, this is say the thing. Like, that's what I'm.
I said this is going to be an overview.
Okay.
I'm not, the things I want to talk
Like,
about
what
specific.
response are you looking for from me? Like, what am I not saying that you feel like you need to
I
hear
just
or
want to
that I
make
should
sure
be
you
saying?
understand what I'm saying. That's all.
I mean, I think I do to the best of my ability. So that's why I'm asking, what do you want me to say? Because I hear you.
All right. What do you hear?
I hear you talking about things that you say that you have, like, you're done with.
No, the people I'm done with.
Then why are you talking about the people that you're done with? I don't understand.
You know what?
Okay.
I'm tired of being pushed over.
This podcast is sponsored by Bare Knuckle Strength. If you're ready and willing to start getting rid of and or release your pain, one of the best ways that we have found to start doing that is self-myofascial release. We have created a program here at Bare Knuckle Strength. You can get that right now for free by going to www.bareknucklestrength.com/release. www.bareknucklestrength.com/RELEASE. Release. We look forward to seeing you on the inside. Be well.
Do you want me?
I want to know John's problem.
I'll come over here and I'll tell you.
Would like for you guys to do me the favor of not yelling at each other for the rest of this time. Speak to each other in the tones that you need to. Like, it doesn't need to go, I get it. This is some heavy shit. I know you have so much stuff on your shoulders. I know you're carrying a lot around. I know this. I know he is too. You guys are two peas in a pod doing this thing back and forth. And we're in this place now where we've just hit a serious bump in the road here. And if we can't take ourselves forward from this bump in the road, then what? So you just said something and he answered it. You're up.
What did she just say?
I want to know what his fucking problem is. Sit down here and I'll tell you what it is.
My fucking problem is that we can't get through this shit. And if, like, me sitting here asking you questions upsets you that much, like, that's my fucking problem. That makes me feel like I don't have a family and someone I can talk to. It sounds like you want to be listened to, and it does not sound like you want to listen. And that frustrates me. And I don't mean to point a finger and be like, hey, like, I think you're suck and you're awful. I just don't hear it in return, Mom. So if you just need to talk, then I'll sit here. I'll even turn my fucking mic off. But fucking say the thing.
What is the thing?
Whatever you need to say.
Okay.
I think you just said off camera, which I caught because you were here, that you don't know why you're saying what you're saying, right? Like, you don't know. You just
Why
know that
I feel the need?
Yes, there it is. Okay. Can you expand on that thought? And I'll shut up and listen.
I don't know why I need to talk about this. I do know you don't want to hear it. And I'm perfectly fine with discussing it on my own and not making you listen to it. Today I wanted to come back and just say, hey, look, this is what I want to discuss in the solo videos I plan to do. I wanted to tell you why I've made these decisions With regard to this,
I guess I haven't heard that answer. That's what I'm getting to. And I don't mean to push you and make you feel bad about what you're saying. That's all.
I have an idea of why you feel like this.
which is,
Well, several moments ago, one of the questions I asked you was, have you ever had an outlet for any of this stuff ever? And you said no.
true.
So for 60 plus years, I won't give your age away because that's not nice.
It's not a secret.
I'm being
It's okay.
gentlemanly. You've been carrying this, and it's been steadily building, being added to by external things, and then furthermore, I also am aware of kind of how you operate at this phase in your life. And not only has it built, but then you're kind of separated from a lot of things and kind of spend some time. I know you spend time with the boys and Holly, but a lot of time spent maybe kind of stewing about a lot of this stuff that has never gotten out. And I think we just saw a pressure relief valve get hit a moment ago. And I think we need to expect that is going to happen a time or two if we want to go down this road.
Didn't we lead off this podcast talking about the friction that caused us to not be here for
Yes.
6 months? So,
Right.
I mean,
So the benefit at this moment is the friction that was happening before did not have a grounding rod. And I want to say like this, like, don't take this grounding rod for fucking granted, okay? Like, I'm a human too. Like, I'm absorbing this shit too, okay? Like, and I felt immediately from both of you what I just said. Don't take this grounding rod for granted. Like, I'm opening myself to you to allow you to open yourself. Please don't take that for granted.
thank you for saying that and for being here.
Okay? So let's move on. Are you ready to move on? Do you want to move on? Or would you like to pause for a little while? All right, I'm going to back up. Do you have anything to add to what we have already discussed from the beginning to about 5 minutes ago? Do you have anything to add to that? Because I believe we probably have, like, how much time do we have?
We're an hour in, so...
Right. So we're probably in a place where we could bring this one to a smooth conclusion, have a few breaths, and then see where we want to go from there.
What is it you want?
To be able to talk to you without these friction bumps. Or, if we have them, to be able to get through them too, without yelling at each other like a bunch of fucking assholes.
Okay, well,
I like that.
what are you frustrated about today? Define it.
I'm going to leave that alone, and I'm just going to let you kind of say what you need to say, because I'm not certain that what I say will be heard. So that's what I'm...
Well, that's not fair. That's
Well,
not a
okay,
conversation.
that's what I'm frustrated about, that I don't feel super listened to. That. So...
Is it offensive if I ask you what you mean by that?
So understand, right? Like, you just got upset at me for questioning you, and you're doing it in return. So, no, I'm not offended. However, I need you to understand that, like, literally, like, we're doing the same things to each other, and I don't get that you have the same sense of awareness about it. And I don't sense you holding back. I sense you on the edge of waiting to strike. And I'm letting you know, and everybody here knows, I'm not taking that lightly. So I want to listen. I would like to not be frustrated hearing what you're saying. I really do want to hear what you have to say. I'm not afraid of what she has to say, and I'm not afraid of shutting up and listening. So I'm here to listen.
My whole point today was to explain to you why I've been adamant about these things and why you and I have been pushing back and forth at each other. I think you're offended when I say something definitively about my family or Brad or anyone else for that matter.
So what if I am? Like that's
Then
my...
express it, yeah. But
oh,
then
I do, and then you
express it.
got up and walked away. So I
No,
can't
you said,
actually...
what are we doing? I already told you why I was here today.
Great, and I asked the question, and you reacted to it. You did what I was doing 2 years ago in our videos. So...
And now we're
And here we
back
are.
in the
So-
same exact cycle, but we're at least doing it a little calmer.
Yeah.
So here's what I'm gonna make the executive decision here.
Go ahead.
We're going to wrap this episode up because we all need to stand up and move around the room for a little while. And then we're going to sit back down and we're going to talk about the book a little bit. And if you would prefer that John is not sitting at the table, we can go that way.
No, we can't.
If
Actually,
you,
I'm
like-
going to
okay.
sit here
Yeah,
at
he
this
has to
table,
be
and I'm
here.
going to
Yeah.
listen.
I want you to be comfortable saying what you
I'm
need
not
to
comfortable
say.
being put down.
I don't think you're being put down, honestly.
Well, that's how I'm taking it.
I see that. I don't believe you're being put down. And I would, you have already heard, like he explained, like I'm going to step in between if I see and if I sense that that is the case, like I'm going to step between that. I don't stand for that. And if I sense that it's happening, I'm not going to let it continue. But I don't feel like it's happening. What I feel like is that the two of you just have a thing, you have a pattern that is very, very easy to get into. And as I said, you have very similar pieces of this pattern, and they love to like live in that place of friction. I get it. Like your life up until just a little bit ago has been nothing but friction. Like it's only recently started to like not be so frictiony. And that's heavy. That's some really heavy stuff. But if we can't sit here and talk it out civilly, it's not going to get out.
And these are the places where, like, when we couldn't talk before, I wanted to have a grounding person or a therapist or somebody. You say what you say, I say what I say. They hear both and then reflect back.
Why do you hate me?
Why do you hate me?
I don't. What do I do that makes you feel like I hate you?
This spinning around thing.
What do you mean? I'm not trying to be an asshole. I want to understand what you're saying.
I mean, I just told you that I was frustrated that I don't feel listened to. That is the crux of it, Mom. I don't feel as if I can be honest and truthful with you because you get defensive and emotional about it. And when you ask me to say what's real and I say it and then you get upset at me, it makes me not want to say anything, really. And
I
it makes
understand that.
Do you?
Yeah, because I feel the same way.
Great. Well, then how do we get beyond it? Like, because I've at least given suggestions. I don't hear any in return. Other than, let's sit here and talk it out. Great. And then what? Bang our heads against the wall and fucking everybody can
What
see us
suggestions are you
be
talking-
douchebags? I just said fucking therapy or something.
Oh, my God. Well, you in therapy.
Cool. What else do you have?
Me.
Well, that doesn't work for me because you can't get out of your own fucking way.
That's what I'm trying to do.
Do you not think that I'm attempting to do that too? Or you think I really just want to sit on Dick Hill?
I don't know what you want, John.
No, I don't want this. I don't want to fucking argue with my mom all the time. I would have the initial impetus of us starting this podcast was what I wanted. And then it devolved from that. And here we are attempting to get back on track. So I am going to work to get back on track, and I will not let it get off track. Period. That's what I'm saying. So, and I know, guess what? I say that with eyes that like are intense, and I say that
Yes.
with a voice that doesn't relent. And I'm allowed to be that way. I'm not being mean or rude or fucking like offensive or condescending. I'm saying what I'm saying with gravitas, like I mean it, because I do. And I understand that that makes some people scared, and I don't care.
So, can we wrap this piece of where we are up right now and let this sit for a minute and move on to our next one? Or do we need some form of closure, conclusion to move into the next thing?
We need some kind of conclusion.
Okay. So what would you, as the voice, what would you like to see happen here moving forward? How would you like the conclusion to look?
If there's any points that my mom hasn't made or said, I would like to hear those to close. Because, yes, we came here to listen to what she wants to open up and expand on, and I don't want to get in the way of that.
Understood. Great. Mama,
Yes?
would you like to, you have the mic, would you like to grace us with a few thoughts to close out what we've been talking about today? I know we've had a few moments here. So I'd like to turn it over to you to have a little bit of closure on where we are right now before we get into the next thing.
I don't believe I need therapy to talk about what happened in my life, John. I'm not crazy about it. I'm not depressed about it. Yes, it's emotional when I talk about it. But that doesn't mean I'm a lunatic here.
Never said that word. Never implied that.
But why do you think I need therapy?
I'm not saying you need therapy.
Can I get in there?
And
for
I
one
never
sec?
said that.
Do you feel like if someone suggests therapy that immediately means that you're like a lunatic or crazy, or like your words
No.
kind of your choice of words leads me to believe that there is a stigma attached to therapy that you're not comfortable with?
No, it's not a stigma attached to therapy. It's actually, I think John thinks I'm nuts. And that's
Okay.
why I need therapy.
Okay.
Is that what I said?
No.
Is that what
No. That is
came
not
out of what I said?
No, that is not what you
Okay.
said.
All
Why
right.
do I need therapy then?
That's okay. Maybe rephrase the question and I can answer it.
Why do you think I need therapy?
Again, a better question, please. Why do you think we need therapy? Might be the thing I could answer.
That is what he suggested.
Yeah.
He didn't
You're
say
hearing you.
He didn't just say you.
I
He
did
said
not
we.
point my finger at you. And
He
I'm
did
not
s-
even like looking at you. So like you're the
I
one
know,
that
that's
is like
another
beaming
problem.
through me.
He did say we.
Well, why don't you look at me when you talk
Because
to me?
you're giving me the same eyes that I give you, but you're not aware of it. Because
I
I
am
know if I
aware.
look at you, I'll look through you, and I don't want to do that. I want to hear what you're saying. Like I'm actually working really hard to listen, and I don't.
I did that the other day and you shoved me out the door.
You did what the other day?
You were talking to me about something. You said, never mind, I'll talk about it later because you're not paying attention. You're looking off.
Okay, if you're going to bring it up, bring it all the way up.
I did.
What was I talking about, and then how did I shove you out the door? Because that didn't happen.
Metaphorically speaking.
What happened?
We were discussing something. I don't remember the topic. You said, I wasn't looking at you, therefore I wasn't paying attention, and you weren't going to discuss it right now.
I mean, you have to give me context for the conversation, because to me, that sounds
It was
made
just
up.
a couple days ago.
When were you here a couple days ago that I kicked you out? Saturday?
I remember it.
I said, kick
What-
me out
what did I say?
metaphorically. You shut me
I
down.
remember it.
What was it?
Exactly, because I was here. I left that day.
Okay, what was
I was
it?
here when you guys started.
Oh, right. Jeremy was looking at his phone.
We were talking about, I was on the phone that day. We had just
Was it the T-shirt thing?
we had just come up with some ideas that we were working on for something else that we're doing.
Okay.
And she walked in to drop some stuff off and walked into what essentially would have been, if we want to use it as a metaphor, you essentially walked into a couple of musicians jamming for a little while. Like we were like, well, what about this? What about this? What about this? What about
Right.
this? We were in the middle of a
Product meeting?
yes, so like a jam session. Like
Okay.
we had an idea that
Yes,
we
that
were
was
working
it.
through, and you walked in to the middle of that essentially.
Yes.
And as per usual, you were like, hey, how are you? All of those things. And then I got pulled away for a phone call because I was dealing with some of my car stuff. During the course of that, he tried to explain to you what our idea was.
Correct.
Which,
Correct.
Granted, I completely would understand that you were being presented with something completely out of left field. It was not, and it's a very, our ideas are very esoteric from
Yes.
the beginning. Like
Yes.
I realize that we're not very straight
Yeah.
line guys. So we were making circles and doing things like that, and we had several ideas, and he tried to explain a couple of what the ideas were, and you were in a place of like, oh, I see that maybe that's this, and like you went into, which is a natural thing, I think. You went into like, oh, I could see that being this or that, this or that.
Yes.
I believe at that point, because then I was out of the situation because I heard you guys go like, let's go outside. I believe at that point, the disconnect and the difference was very similar to where you guys have it right now, where you had an idea and a thought, and we had an idea and a thought, and they were not jiving with each other. And that was the place where it's like, oh, well, you're not listening, you're not listening, you're not listening, you're not listening. But that's the start of all of every time I've seen you guys go at it, it's that. It's like, you're not listening to me, you're not listening to me, you're not listening to me. Yes. Go
Okay.
ahead.
So now I remember.
Okay.
Yes, I understand.
Okay.
I remember you walking into the middle of the conversation and being like, hey, what do you think of this? And you went into your head and thought something different. And I interpreted that as not listening. And I was not mean or dismissive. I said, okay, I can see that maybe this isn't a conversation for right now. And I did. I shut it down. If that was offensive or that hurt your feelings, I did not intend to do that. I realized at that moment that I was asking of you something you couldn't give in return because you hadn't heard the whole conversation. So, because then we went outside and we actually talked, and I didn't send you away, and then we came back in and talked more and actually left on good terms.
Right. But the issue is really simple.
Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
You just said I was dismissive and kicked you out, and that was not true, and I need you to rescind that statement.
I rescind that statement.
Okay, thank you.
But the whole point of me bringing that up is that as you were talking to me about the T-shirts,
Yes.
I'm looking away because my brain is now going. I'm picturing this in my head.
Got it.
You have this T-shirt, you have this T-shirt, you have this T-shirt. Now I'm looking at it as a comic strip. It's
fair.
in
You did say that.
lines,
That's how you
okay?
mentioned it. I remember hearing that.
That's what I'm doing. That's how my brain works.
Got it.
You're not looking at me right now because you don't want to look through me, right? So you're looking away because you're listening. I was looking away because I'm listening and the brain is
Got
going.
it. Now, okay, there it is. Connected.
See that?
Understood.
You guys just connected a dot there that was previously not connected. And what did we learn about that dot? Oh my gosh, we're both doing the same thing.
Yeah, that's always been a problem.
Pretty much.
John
I
will-
know that.
Well, John will swear up and down. I didn't say that or I didn't do that. We just had this conversation.
We both do that, actually. So anyway.
John, see,
All right. So,
I asked you if you know me to be a detail-oriented person. You said, okay.
No, I said yes. I said yes. It's on the tape.
So the point is,
yes, with
I'm
there
detail-oriented about everything in my life.
there was a caveat to it. If you would,
Yeah, I believe you are very detail-oriented about the things that have happened to you and are self-aware in your life.
Right.
Yes.
okay.
And I thought we had agreed that you don't want to hear this shit,
Hear what shit?
what I have to say.
Then why would-
No, listen, don't get upset. I don't want you to get upset.
Okay.
You don't want to hear it. I don't blame you.
Okay.
Am I wrong that you don't want to hear it?
Yes.
Okay.
I wouldn't be here if you were right.
All right, you don't want to have the conversation, you just want to listen to it. Would that be a better interpretation?
Kind of.
Okay.
It's not my place to pull out those things from you. And if that's kind of what you thought I was doing earlier, I'm a curious, imaginative person. So when somebody puts a statement out and I ask a question in return, it's to get more information about it. And I didn't perceive what I was asking to be something to shut you down. And if that's how it was taken, again, I apologize. That was not the intention. I really do just want to hear the truth. And I think right now, or sometimes we're circling on top of it. I'm just like, want to hear it. That's all. So
I think
that's all.
I think personally, like my feeling here is that this needed to happen
Of course.
today to allow you guys to be in the thing. Like we started, we did the thing for a little while. Everybody was moving back and forth. Then it raised up a little bit. Everyone got upset for a second. Now we're back here again, and we're understanding now that that's not going to work anymore. That doesn't work. You cannot get through this like that. You both have to have that understanding. Like we're not moving forward through this with that approach. What we are moving forward through with a different approach is getting these things out as calmly as possible without I get it. Like the stuff in here in this book is emotionally charged, especially for you. Especially for you. This is your life, things that you've been sitting on for a very long time. And yes, you've shared some of the stuff on the previous episodes. Like you've shared, like people, if they've been paying attention, they know a lot of stuff about what has happened in your life. I know I've been paying attention. Like I was riveted some of those times listening to some of that stuff. And as I said earlier, like I've spent times like, man, I just want to reach through the phone right now and like give that person a hug. Like, Jesus, like I feel terrible. And I hope you feel that I still feel that way. Like,
I do.
I know. And I know you do. But, for both of you, like I feel that way all the time. So let's take this opportunity in this place where we are right now to thank everyone for being here.
I do have one more thing to say.
Okay, what do you got? Let it out.
The thing that really pushed me to come back, John, is this. I don't expect you to understand it. Like I said, there's been contact. People have contacted you, people have contacted me and Holly about all of this.
Mm-hmm.
And in all of it, John, these people, your family.
Our.
No, not our. They're not mine.
Okay.
I refuse to think of it that way. These people are your family. They're watching you and Holly fall apart emotionally. And they don't pick up the phone and call you and say, "Are you okay?" No, they pick up a phone and try to punch you in the face. You're drowning in emotional distress, and these people who hold themselves up as the great and the good, right? The high moral authority. They don't even think to pick up a phone and call you. Your father didn't call and say, "Are you okay?"
No, he told me that my grandparents would be upset with me.
I'm talking to you as your mother.
I know.
What I see here is exactly what's been going on all along.
So that hurts you to see us in
Yes.
perceived emotional distress.
It's not perceived.
Well, you haven't asked me how I feel about that. You have taken that on as my mom and attempted to fight it.
I am fighting it.
It's not wrong. That's not a wrong observation.
So look,
John, how do you feel about that? Since she hasn't asked.
in the last 6 to 8 months, I have been able, because we took the step of putting something out.
Right.
We knew there was going to be backlash.
Yes.
We said that, right?
Yes.
Or people not liking it.
Yes.
Guess what? I knew immediately that we were doing the right thing
Because of the friction, right?
because of the friction.
Yes.
And also, I wanted to make sure that we were very like, I'm not here to, well, you hurt me, so I have to hurt you back. Not to you, not to him, not to them. I'm done hurting, and if they want to keep hurting, they can. What I say is not intended to be hurtful or to be spiteful or to like. I just want to move forward. So I'm like, I knew I initially got upset about the certain one person, and I told you about it. But you're doing that thing that like, now you're just like carrying that one moment this whole time. I'm over that moment, and I've moved beyond
I'm
it.
not, because I'm a mom.
But you've moved beyond your family like you just said that you did here. So I believe you can apply that to what's going on between, like, you can let it go. If I've let it go, you can let it go for me too. Because now it's causing friction between us and not them. And they don't care. You're right. They're not calling to have conversations and talk to me. They're calling to tell me that I have the IQ of a room temperature. Like, right? My IQ is room temperature. I am a drug addict. I am a fucking loser. I am a loose cannon. I am a fucking pussy. I am everything they all
a
said about
psychopath
me.
too?
Psychopath. All of these things. That's what I am to them. I don't believe that about myself. And if they wanted to have the conversation with me to sort of sort that out, I believe their choice of words might change, or it might stay the same. I really don't care. And I certainly do care about you carrying that. That doesn't make me feel good and isn't actually necessary and not how I need you to mom me.
I'm not momming you. I'm saying
There's Mama Bearish coming out. I get it.
These people prevented me from protecting my kids.
So you're coming back around to make sure that never happens again?
No, I'm coming back around to say, I see you motherfuckers, and I'm going to talk about it.
Okay. I love that.
Talk about it.
That's
There it
maybe
was.
possibly all of everything we just did for the last hour and a half was leading to that statement right there. That's it right there. Thank you so much for getting that out.
Yes, seriously. Now, I understand more based on what you just said because of the way you said it.
It's not because I'm your mom. I'm a mother, and I watch these people torture you all your lives.
Okay.
And they're still attempting
Yeah.
to tell you
Yep.
who you are.
Yes.
And they silenced me all these years. Fuck them, John.
Tell them.
I'm done with this.
Look at the camera.
I'm talking about all the things now.
Okay, talk about it.
And I will be talking about what's happened as a result of this podcast.
This one today?
All of our podcasts.
Okay.
Because to keep it under wraps we're failing ourselves. what happened as a result of the fallout of this podcast is part of the problem, part of the story.
Yep.
I'm not hiding anybody's secrets any fucking longer. That's what it's about.
And on that note, thank you guys for watching. We'll make sure you tune in for the next one.
You're a fucking rock star for sitting here like this.
Thank you for making it this far in our podcast. I am not okay, and that's why I created www.iamnotok.com. It's a space where we can go to be seen, to be heard, and to not be judged. Everybody needs that. Everybody wants that. Here is our opportunity to have that. If you are ready to have your story heard, please go to www.iamnotok.com/contact, CONTACT, and fill out our form to sit right here across from me as a guest on our podcast. And if you're not ready to be a guest and tell your story live, but you are ready to start telling the truth, even if just to yourself, then please grab our free Speaking Your Truth guide, www.iamnotok.com/truth. We look forward to seeing you on the inside. Be well.